Right before your biggest breakthrough, your mind starts a war against you. You procrastinate, you overthink, you suddenly feel tired, distracted, uncertain. Not because you're weak, but because success is terrifying to the version of you that's comfortable staying small. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because the moment life finally begins to change, they sabotage themselves before success has the chance to arrive. And the scary part, self-sabotage doesn't look dangerous at first. It looks like waiting one more day. It looks like I'm not ready yet. It sounds like maybe later, but later becomes years, and years become regret. Your future is not destroyed in one dramatic moment. It's destroyed quietly through hesitation, excuses, fear of judgment, fear of responsibility, and fear of becoming someone unfamiliar. Tonight, you're going to understand why your mind attacks your dreams the closer you get to winning. Because once you recognize the pattern, you stop being controlled by it. This is not just a speech about success. This is a warning. Because if you don't defeat the version of yourself that keeps pulling you backward, you will stand inches away from greatness and still never touch it. Most men do not stay trapped because they enjoy suffering. They stay trapped because suffering, they understand, feels safer than success they cannot predict. The human brain is built to protect familiarity before it protects potential. That is why a man can complain about his life for years and still reject the very opportunity that could transform it. The pain he knows becomes more comfortable than the uncertainty he fears. A toxic routine, financial struggle, unhealthy relationships, and low standards begin to feel normal because they are predictable. Success, on the other hand, demands a new identity, new discipline, and new expectations. That shift threatens the version of him that has spent years surviving instead of growing. Women often notice this before men do. They see the hesitation, the delay, the excuses disguised as logic. A man says he wants greatness, but when the moment arrives, he suddenly doubts himself, pulls away, or distracts himself with temporary comfort. Not because he lacks ability, but because deep down, success carries pressure. It demands leadership, emotional control, responsibility, and consistency. Many men fear failure, but even more secretly fear the weight of becoming powerful because power removes excuses, exposes potential, and forces them to confront who they could have been all along. Most men expect fear to appear at the beginning of the journey, but the truth is fear becomes strongest right before the breakthrough. When a man is far from success, he can still hide behind excuses, blame circumstances, and convince himself there is always more time. But the closer he gets to winning, the more real everything becomes. Suddenly, the dream is no longer imaginary. The opportunity is in front of him. People start noticing his potential. Expectations rise. Responsibility grows. And that is when his mind begins searching for ways to escape the pressure. He procrastinates, overthinks, delays decisions, or creates unnecessary problems because fear is trying to pull him back towards safety. Women often witness this emotional conflict in men long before men admit it themselves. They see the shift in behavior when success becomes possible. A man who was once confident becomes distant, irritated, or emotionally unavailable because winning forces him to confront deeper questions about identity and worth. Success changes how the world sees a man, but more importantly, it changes how he must see himself. Many men are prepared to chase greatness, but far fewer are prepared for the exposure, accountability, an internal transformation that greatness demands from them every single day. Most men are not procrastinating because they are lazy. They are procrastinating because taking action would force them to face judgment, pressure, and the possibility of discovering what they are truly capable of. The brain often treats growth like a threat, especially when a man has spent years trying his identity to comfort, avoidance, or survival. Delaying the work becomes a form of emotional protection. If he never fully tries, he never has to risk failure, rejection, or disappointment. That is why so many men stay busy with distractions instead of commitments. They scroll, plan, talk, and dream because movement feels safer than execution. Real action changes things, and change demands responsibility. Women often misunderstand this behavior as lack of ambition, while many men secretly experience it as internal conflict. A man can deeply desire success and still resist the very actions that would create it. He avoids the phone call, delays the opportunity, ignores the discipline, because every step forward challenges the identity he has grown comfortable carrying. Success threatens old habits, weak mindsets, and emotional hiding places. The closer he moves toward becoming respected, capable, and powerful, the more exposed he feels inside. Procrastination becomes a shield protecting him from the pressure of transformation, accountability. And the fear of no longer having excuses to hide behind. Most men do not destroy opportunities because they lack intelligence or ability. They destroy them because success demands an identity they are not emotionally prepared to carry. Every opportunity comes with a hidden question. Are you ready to become someone different? And for many men, that question creates fear. A new level of success requires new habits, new discipline, new standards, and a new mindset. It demands leaving behind the version of themselves built around excuses, comfort, and limitation. That is why a man can pray for change and still sabotage the moment it arrives. Deep down, staying the same feels safer than stepping into a life that requires growth, visibility, and responsibility. Women often notice the contradiction before men recognize it themselves. They watch a man ask for better opportunities, then hesitate when those opportunities demand emotional maturity and consistency. He says he wants respect, freedom, and success, but unconsciously protects the identity connected to struggle because it is familiar. Many men build entire personalities around being overlooked, unlucky, or misunderstood. The moment life offers them a chance to evolve, they panic because transformation threatens the story they have repeated for years. Accepting success means releasing the comfort of old excuses, old environments, old friendships, and the emotional safety of remaining who they have always been. Most men never realize they are sabotaging themselves because self-sabotage rarely sounds negative in the beginning. It sounds intelligent. It sounds practical. It sounds responsible. I'll start when the timing is better. I just need more preparation. I'm being realistic. The danger is not the excuse itself. The danger is how convincing it becomes. A man slowly begins negotiating with his own potential, not because he lacks ambition, but because fear has learned how to speak in a calm voice. Instead of openly resisting success, he delays it with logic that feels safe enough to justify staying the same. The mind would rather protect certainty than risk transformation, even if that certainty is painful. Women often recognize this pattern emotionally before men understand it mentally. They hear the shift in language when a man gets close to a breakthrough. His energy changes. His confidence becomes hesitation. His vision becomes caution. Not because he suddenly stopped wanting success, but because success now feels real enough to threaten the identity he has been protecting for years. Many men are taught to appear strong, capable, and in control, so when opportunity exposes their insecurities, they retreat behind reasonable excuses instead of confronting vulnerability directly. A man may say he is waiting for the right moment, when in reality he is terrified of pressure, expectations, and the possibility of no longer being able to blame circumstances for his life. Fear becomes most dangerous when it no longer feels like fear. It disguises itself as comfort, patience, overthinking, perfectionism, and caution. A man convinces himself he is protecting his future while quietly destroying his momentum. Most men want a better life without realizing that a better life demands a different version of them. Success is not something you add on top of your current identity. Success replaces parts of you that can no longer survive at the next level. The habits that once kept you comfortable begin to destroy your future. The mindset that helped you survive struggle becomes the same mindset that blocks growth. A man says he wants discipline, leadership, respect, financial freedom, and purpose. But those things cannot exist alongside constant excuses, emotional avoidance, weak routines, and fear-driven decisions. Growth is painful because the brain experiences identity change like loss. Every new level forces a man to let go of behaviors, beliefs, and comforts that once felt safe. Women often notice this internal battle in men before men admit it themselves. They can sense when a man is divided between who he has been and who he knows he must become. One part of him wants greatness, while another part clings to familiar patterns because they protect him from pressure and accountability. Many men are raised to suppress emotion, avoid vulnerability, and measure their worth through external success. So when transformation begins, it creates emotional resistance they struggle to explain. They become distant, inconsistent, frustrated, or self-destructive because their identity is being challenged. The old version of them fights for survival even when that version is the reason they feel stuck. Real transformation demands separation from the old self that normalized procrastination, toxic environments, weak standards, and temporary comfort. A man cannot carry old thinking into a new future. The closer he moves toward purpose, the more uncomfortable his old habits begin to feel. His relationships change, his priorities shift, his tolerance for distraction disappears. And the excuses that once sounded convincing begin exposing the very mindset that kept him trapped for years